Let's start with the main components of an advanced off-grid solar electric system for Skoolies and bus conversions. This setup is designed to handle all your power needs, no matter where you're parked. Here's what we will cover. Advanced off-grid solar system components. Solar panels, wiring, and fuses to safely capture and channel sunlight. Solar charge controller to manage the power from the panels to the batteries. Solar panel shutoff switch to safely disconnect power from the panel. DC to DC charger to charge house batteries while driving. Inverter charger to convert DC to AC power and charge batteries from shore power. Lithium batteries to store energy for efficient, long-term use. Bus bar with fuses to connect components safely and efficiently. Main battery shutoff switch to cut power from the battery bank for maintenance or emergencies. Smart dongle or phone app to monitor system performance and power usage. AC breaker panel to distribute AC power safely to the outlets. 12-volt fuse panel to distribute DC power for lighting fans and other 12-volt devices. Portable generator to charge the batteries and provide power while off-grid when it's too dark or cloudy for effective solar charging. First, when installing the solar panels on the roof, you'll need enough space to capture plenty of sunlight depending on your roof space and power needs. High efficiency monocrystalline panels are great for Skoolies due to limited space. Often overlooked is how to position the panels on the rooftop. Without having a place to walk, it is much more difficult to clean and remove snow from the panels. Once the panels are mounted, follow your equipment manufacturer's wiring specifications and be sure to install the proper solar wire fuses. These fuses protect your wiring and components from any unexpected surges. Each panel should be fused individually before combining them and routing the wires down to the charge controller inside. The charge controller that I'm pointing to here is essential because it regulates the current from the panels to your batteries. MPPT controllers are best for bus conversions since they maximize energy efficiency. Mount the charge controller close to the batteries to minimize power loss. Next is a solar panel shutoff switch. This safety feature lets you disconnect the panels from the system, especially useful if you need to do maintenance on your charge controller or other components without risk of electrocution. Always switch this to the off position by turning it before working on your system. A DC to DC charger allows your system to charge while you're driving by using the bus's alternator. It's a game changer for overcast days or shaded parking spots, ensuring your batteries stay charged even without solar input. Here you can see the 320 amp bus alternator, and it's powered by the engine. So this puts out all the power that's charging the bus chassis batteries, which I'm pulling the power from. So this wire that I added here goes up to the DC to DC charger that's up inside the bus, which I'll show you in a few minutes. And it connects just as one wire to the positive on the bus chassis battery. You can see I have 3 batteries here, but all you have to do is hook it to the one main positive where it connects 1, 2, and 3 together. So that's all you need. There is really no connection directly to the alternator. The alternator on the bus actually charges this bank, and I'm pulling the power from the batteries to go up to the DC-DC charger. The DC to DC charger shown right here is a non-isolated type, evidenced by the 3-wire connections down here. The red or positive wire, which is fuse protected, connects the input to the DC to DC charger to the positive terminal on the bus chassis battery and the output to the positive terminal on the bus bar system. The black or negative connects the DC to DC charger to the negative terminal on the bus bar. This charger will keep your system topped off while you're on the move, making it perfect for road trips or full-time Skoolie living. An inverter charger is a dual-function device. It converts DC power from your batteries into AC power for regular outlets and allows you to recharge your house batteries from shore power whenever it's available. Make sure your inverter charger can handle your max wattage needs and mount it near the battery bank. This placement reduces the amount of heavy-duty wiring needed and helps maintain efficiency. The inverter charger should also have an equipment ground and be protected with a breaker that will trip it if it's overloaded. Once installed, you'll be able to plug in and charge from any shore power connection. So next, let's talk batteries. Lithium batteries are ideal for mobile living because they are lightweight, compact, and very efficient. They should be mounted in a secure, ventilated spot inside the bus that is free from heat and freezing temperatures. To connect everything, we'll use a bus bar with fuses. The bus bar simplifies connections, letting you attach multiple components like the inverter, charge controller, and the 12-volt fuse panel. Each connection is fused for safety, so if any component fails, the fuse will blow instead of damaging your system. A main battery shutoff switch is essential for safety. This switch lets you disconnect the entire battery bank quickly in case of an emergency, like an electrical short or when performing maintenance. Position it close to your batteries for easy access. Now let's get high-tech. Many inverters, charge controllers, and battery management systems come with a smart dongle or a phone app. This feature lets you monitor your system's performance, check battery levels, and even track your solar input. It's incredibly convenient, allowing you to keep an eye on everything from your phone. To distribute power safely, we need two panels. Number one, the AC breaker panel. This handles all your AC power needs. It distributes power to your outlets, appliances, and larger devices. Each circuit has a breaker to protect it against any overloads. And you can see them here of 20 and 15. Number two is the 12-volt fuse panel. This is for your 12-volt DC items like fans, lights, and the water pump. Each connection is fused, which keeps your system safe and easy to troubleshoot if there's a problem. Mount both panels in an accessible spot, as you may need to reset breakers or replace fuses occasionally. Label each circuit so you know which fuse or breaker corresponds to each device. Even though generators have their cons, there are some pros, such as having backup power when you don't have a choice for solar because it's raining, too cloudy, or it's nighttime, and you don't have another type of shore power connection to use. Additionally, you may not be running your diesel engine to run the DC-DC charger enough to keep the batteries up. So in that case, the portable generator has its use, but there are some limitations. The generator I'm using here is a Ryobi 1800 watt. It's running watts versus 2300 starting watts. My experience running this generator is I can only run it about 12 to 13 amps on my inverter charger. If I exceed that, I will actually stall the engine on the generator. Again, very important, set your inverter charger to the right amperage draw and you won't overwork the generator. Another issue I found with using a generator is carrying the gasoline. Trouble with the gasoline when you're traveling in the hot summertime. I was in South Carolina and it was 105 degrees. This thing was starting to blow up like a balloon from the gas inside of it. And I could actually smell gas inside the bus, even though this can was down below in my storage area. Also, when the generator's been running for a while, the engine gets really hot, and after you turn off the generator, it takes a couple hours to really cool down and stop putting out gas fumes. Because the generator has to be run outside, you can't leave it outside in public areas for risk of theft laws. And one more note about generators. They often advertise that they're so quiet that nobody can really hear them when they're nearby. I don't find that to be true so far. Everywhere I've been, people do look over and they see me out there with a generator, and usually it's because they hear it first. So once everything's installed, it's time to check the system. And here's a quick checklist. Check all connections and make sure all wires are properly secured and properly fused. Test the shutoff switches. Ensure that the main battery and solar shutoff switches work correctly. Test the system. Turn on a few appliances and lights to ensure that everything is working properly. Monitor with your app. Open the phone app to test real-time system performance. Everything working? Congratulations! You now have a fully functioning off-grid solar electric system to power your Skoolie or bus. So next up are 10 tips for using a system like this, both on and off-grid. If you have any questions, drop a comment below, and don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on our future videos. Tip number 1 is to always use a surge protector to protect your whole system, your battery bank, your inverter, and all that from any unexpected surges in the grid system. Tip number 2 is to always use the properly rated RV cord. This is a 30 amp cord, has a 3-prong outlet here, and that connects into here. You just tighten this in. There are different types on the market. I have one that just threads on like that, and then it cannot pull off. And very important, tip number 3, always preset your inverter charger to the proper amperage draw before you plug into any shore power outlet, and that includes any generator. Tip number 4, always monitor your battery levels with your phone app to make sure that you have enough electricity for your needs. This can be a budgeting issue with the electric, depending on the weather conditions and how many other sources of charging you have. Tip number 5, keep your rooftop solar panels clean for best operating efficiency. Tip number 6 is to maintain proper fire, smoke, and carbon monoxide detectors inside the Skoolie or bus conversion for safety and times when you are sleeping and not really aware of your surroundings. Tip number 7, always carry a fully charged fire extinguisher for any emergency. As you see here, this one comes off pretty easily, and follow the instructions on how to use it. Tip number 8, periodically check all your wire connections, your fuses, and your equipment to make sure everything is working properly. Tip number 9, always make sure that all your solar panel mounts and your solar wiring remain securely fastened. Sometimes on the highway, high wind can loosen wires and fuses or even solar panels. Tip number 10, properly vent your solar equipment cabinet. For example, your solar charge controller, your DC to DC charger, and your inverter charger. They put out a lot of heat while they are operating, and it's good to have some fans to help remove that heat out of that area. That helps keep them cool for better performance and longevity. I hope this guide helps you set up the perfect advanced off-grid solar electric system for your Skoolie or bus conversion. So happy travels and enjoy the freedom of living off-grid.